From Russian prison cells to U.S. soil, 3 Americans reunited with their loved ones this morning, freed in the largest prisoner swap since the Cold War. Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich, former U.S. Marine Paul Whelan, and Russian journalist Alsu Kurmasheva, all walking off a plane at Joint Base Andrews just before midnight Eastern last night, greeted one by President Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, and then, most importantly, their families. Tears of joy. An amazing moment to watch unfold. It was Turkey playing the role of mediator in that deal. The prisoner swap involving the release of 16 individuals previously detained in Russia in exchange for 8 individuals held in the U.S., Germany, Norway, Slovenia, and Poland.
Great satisfaction and a feeling of relief for the family. To me, this is about the essence of who we are as a country. It really is about personal relationships. It's about family. It's about being able to have access to your own, the people you love and you adore.
This is just an extraordinary testament to the importance of having a president who understands the power of diplomacy.
The freed prisoners and their loved ones just arriving in San Antonio in the last 90 minutes. They will be evaluated at the Brooke Army Medical Center there. And Paul Whelan just speaking to reporters about the moment he realized he was going home.
It didn't feel real until we were flying over England. I'm a British citizen, Irish citizen, Canadian, and American. So as we came over England and I looked down, that's when it became real. We flew over Ireland, then Canada, and into America, and then I knew I was home. So getting off the plane, seeing the president, the vice president, that was nice. It was a good homecoming. So looking forward to seeing my family down here and just recuperating from 5 years, 7 months, and 5 days of just absolute nonsense by the Russian government.
Let's bring in Jonathan Frank, spokesman for the Bring Our Families Home campaign. Jonathan, good morning to you. It is a good morning. Wonderful to have these Americans back on U.S. soil. I know you've been playing such a role in all of this. What went through your mind? So many of us staying up, watching them come off that plane. It was very emotional.
It sure was. And thanks for having me, Jessica. I mean, watching, for me personally, getting to see Paul come down those steps after, it's been about 2 years since Trevor Reed came home, and we've been working every day to bring Paul home since. It was great to see Evan walk down so confidently, and having spent some time last week with Alsu's husband, Pavel, and their 2 daughters, getting to see her come down the steps and getting to see her daughters hug her for the first time was what made it all worthwhile.
No question about it. And the families in all of this, of course, they've been wrongfully detained and stuck in these Russian prisons, which is awful. The families in a kind of a prison of their own as well, with their loved ones stuck there and not knowing when they're coming back. This has been really difficult for them as well. They have to be feeling tremendous relief this morning.
I have to say, Pavel and his daughters yesterday looked like the weight of the world had been taken off them compared to when I saw them last week. And it was great to see. And I think the president is right in a sense. This is who we are as Americans. And, this should be, whether or not the former president's on board with it or not, this should be a fairly unifying thing for us all to watch. And I think for most of us, it is.
Yeah. And I want to play a clip from the president about how important friends are and allies in a moment like this. This is what he said.
Today is a powerful example of why it's vital to have friends in this world. Friends you can trust, work with, and depend upon, especially on matters of great consequence and sensitivity like this. Our alliances make our people safer.
And it's amazing, Jonathan, because as you well know, there were a number of countries and allies that were involved in getting this over the finish line. President Biden couldn't deliver this on his own. He needed the help of those allies. And it really underscores how many nations had to come together and the diplomacy that had to be used to get something like this done.
Absolutely. And I think this was a big step for the German government in particular to take. And I'm glad to see so many German nationals going home, but certainly, that unlocked this what we saw yesterday, their willingness to let Mr. Krasikov go back to Russia.
Yeah. All right. Well, it is a good day indeed, Jonathan. And I know, again, you're happy for the families that you've worked with for so long to let them have this moment with all their loved ones back. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Jessica.
And let's bring in our panel now. Molly Ball, senior political correspondent at the Wall Street Journal and a colleague of Evan Gershkovich, former DNC communications director Mo Elleithee, and Republican strategist Sarah Longwell. Good morning, all of you. Molly, I want to start first with you because if we can show everyone, this is the Wall Street Journal, and it's Evan Gershkovich is free with a huge photo. It has to be. We all know newsrooms are a tight place, and it was hard for all of the journalists to see that, but for you all especially, it had to be a special day yesterday.
Incredible, and I can hardly express how elated we are, how relieved we all are. We have been thinking of Evan every single day for the 16 months that he was unjustly detained in that Russian prison. We've been working for his release, and we're all just incredibly grateful and relieved to everyone who got this done. And I think it needs to be said, he never should have been in that prison. He did nothing wrong. Journalism is not a crime. He was doing his job. And this trend of autocratic leaders taking innocent prisoners as pawns in these type of games really has got to stop. It's a big problem in the world, but most of all, we're so happy and relieved for Evan, for his family. He's an incredible journalist, an incredible colleague, and we're so glad he's home.
Yeah, and the note that at the end of the evaluation or the paperwork where he asked Putin for an interview.
Isn't that amazing?
A journalist, you never lose the instinct.
It's in his soul, it really is.
That's right, it is. It's amazing. Mo, we heard from the president in some of those clips I was playing earlier. He has really hung his hat and wants his legacy to be foreign policy and bringing together these coalitions of Western democracies for a variety of reasons. This is just another incident of that happening. But do you think that when the story is told, that will be what he is in part known for?
I mean, I certainly hope so. I mean, it's something he said when he was running for president. He said it from day one of his presidency, and here we are in the closing months of his presidency, and we've seen time and time again his ability to pull together international coalitions to great effect. I mean, the pulling everyone together to support Ukraine, and now this. And it will give, I think, not just a boost to his legacy, but a really strong contrast with Donald Trump in the fall. And you heard it yesterday when he talked about this shows the importance of having friends and allies, and you heard the vice president echoing that on the tarmac overnight. This is, I think, going to help amplify and underscore that difference between this administration and Donald Trump when it comes to foreign policy.
And so we come to Sarah for the politics of all of this. As Mo was alluding to, we have Trump's post. It's long, but I think one part that kind of gets at the heart of what we really heard from him yesterday, our negotiators are always an embarrassment to us. I got back many hostages and gave the opposing country nothing and never any cash. Just to remind everyone, this was not a financial transaction that occurred yesterday. But what we didn't hear from the former president, at least I didn't, was we're so glad Americans are home.
Yeah, no,
Just
that's
kind
right.
of step one.
Like, first of all, I don't know, between the Olympics, Simone Biles' floor routine, the hostages coming home, like the vibe right now should be tattooing an American flag on your chest and running through the streets. But what does this guy do? He sits there on his phone, grumpy that the hostages are home, mad that he doesn't get to fame like he and Putin have some special deal, so he's going to be able to negotiate this. He's always Trump first, America last, despite his rhetoric. And people should be more offended by things like this than, a lot of the other crazy stuff Trump does, because these are the points where he really shows how he does not love America, right? Donald Trump, this is where Republicans have lost the plot on who they were and who I felt like, we were for the 20 years that I cared about being in the party. One of the reasons I became a Republican was that they felt like they loved America. It felt like they thought America was a good place, that we were often in the right. But Donald Trump describes it as a dark place, isn't excited when we bring the hostages home. He's not even being cool about the Olympics. And so, I think this is a stark contrast in people who are out there doing their jobs for America and somebody who's sitting on his phone sending out nasty tweets about America.